Good morning. So I'm Chandu. So I will be, so we will be discussing about SQL Server DBA going forward, right? So here in this class, so whatever we discuss, so we will be discussing the complete, so SQL Server, so technology like SQL Server DBA training, right? Let's go ahead. So so before we jump into that SQL Server, so training or technology, so so a little about myself. So I have around 10 plus years of SQL Server DBA experience, and so a good experience in so giving a training on different techno. I mean, so SQL Server DBA. Uh, this class is so for around 2 months, right? For the duration that I mentioned, so it might be go more than 2 months as well, but it depends on how you are learning and so your so the way you are learning. So the timings what I propose is 8:30 a.m. to 9:30, but that let's see if that can be so different. That can be changed based on the people preference and my availability as well, right? So that is so about like the duration of the training that we are going with, and what are the prerequisites that we need to learn this course, right? So people might be thinking that they need some experience on SQL or experience on industry or experience on something. What exactly the prerequisites as in before joining this class, so what exactly they should know, right? So that is kind of prerequisites that we call it as. So I would say, so no prior experience is required. So you no need to have a corporate or industry experience to learn this SQL DBA course, right? So yeah, if you have a basic computer and operating system knowledge, that should be fine. Like operating system as in like Windows operating system. So mostly I am going with the Windows operating system. Right. So Windows operating system, like for example, how to open, so File Explorer, what is, so Task Manager. So at least just minimum understanding would be fine. But I will also, so open that and show you that how to look into. But yeah, if you have a basic understanding of the computer, basic understanding of the operating system would be fine, right? To do a practice, right? So whatever I am giving, I am explaining, that is just a so up to the class, right? So class wise, I'll give you 100%, like whatever I can do, so I will give you everything, right? But along with that, you will have to do a practice on your own so that you will understand and learn faster, right? So for example, let's say I'm telling something today, right? So for example, some issue I'm telling here today or some topic, if you go to the home, like if you open your laptop and practice, then you will understand and remember, so without any issue. So that you will have to have a so kind of a laptop or system so that you can practice, right, on your own. So if you don't have laptop or system, maybe you can ask someone to do that, but it is good that if you have a laptop or system, so in your home to practice. I hope that so nowadays, like everyone will have that laptop or system. So I should not mention that, but if you don't have, just so get someone, get some so get laptop or system from someone. So what I will provide, so along with the class, so I'll provide that class recordings, and I'll provide, so maybe I'll give you access to you directly so that you can record the classes, maybe not so first or second classes. Afterwards, like I will give you access so that you can record on your own, right? So I will provide you the presentations, whatever I am teaching, and class notes, right? So whatever we provide, whatever so I'm showing you in the class, so I will provide you that class notes, and I will provide you the software as well. Software as in like, for example, you want to install SQL Server. So where you would like to, from where you will download and install, right? So I will provide you that software to install on your computer, right? So that is outline of your, so the course and the content that we provide for you to work on your own, right? So as I mentioned, like this 1 hour, I mean, whatever 1 hour or whatever time that I mentioned, so it can be 1 hour or more or less, like, so it all depends on the particular day that we discuss. And along with this, I mean, along with as in, for example, if you have any doubts or any questions, even after this class, you can reach out to me so that I can, help you out. Like, so if not detailed explanation, so I'll give you a correct path for you to, so understand and prepare on your own or read yourself, right? So if you have any questions, stop and so ask me so that you will have so no doubts to for your questions, right? This is just, outline of the course, what we are going to discuss, right? So this, you no need to worry about it. Like, this is just a mention course description. So this is a SQL, so course that we provide. So I will, so no need to explain or read it. And who is this course for? Like I said, so whoever interested to become a database side or database administrator, so everyone can join this course without a prior experience. Who, like, if you don't have even so database experience or any IT experience, you would be able to so take up this course to learn and understand the concepts. So as in, like, I'll so teach in that way, like you would be able to understand even from the basics if you don't know, right? So any questions? Right. So I hope you don't have any for now. Right. What is, so administrator, like why we need to go to an administrator? So what is the role? I mean, so administrator responsibility, like, so like people are telling like, I'm an administrator, like what is your responsibility? So as an administrator, right? So this is a high level, as in, like, so just a outline, but I will teach every concept, so to understand and learn a proper way, right? So don't worry about these terminologies that I am mentioning here. But as a DBA, you are everything to the organization who is managing the data, right? For example, uh, so you are organizing I mean, you are in a company, so where it needs data, right? So you are a DBA, you are responsible for everything. But before I jump into so DBA or data, so let me explain this one, right? So what is a data, for example? So why we need a database? So SQL Server is a technology, or is a kind of software we use to store the data, right? So we create a databases and we store the data in the databases, right? So SQL Server is one of the technologies that we use to store the data, right? So what is data and why we need to store the data, right? For example, let's take an example. um, Right. So you are from in college, right? So let's say, for example, I am from like, for example, any college you can consider, right? For example, Andhra University or Kakatiya University. So any university that you take, right? For example, so in that university, you have different branches or different, so every year people are, so passed out, right? Like, for example, 2010, 11, 12, whatever year people are passed out. So whenever they go and ask for their certificate, for example, let's say I have not taken my certificate, whichever I have passed out, right? So for example, I have passed out 2015, but I have not taken my certificate. Certificate as in like OD or final consolidated mark sheet, whatever it is, I have not taken. Right. So if I don't take a certificate from the organization, so in 2022, I need a certificate to get into the organization, right? So I got placed into a company called XYZ, and I want to, so submit the documents for background verification, whatever it is. And if I go back to the college, so university, and ask for certificates, right? So how they identify you as a student who studied in that college or university, graduated in 2015, right? So how they identify, like they should have somewhere to store your information, right? So they should have somewhere to store your data, so that they can pull the data, so they can pull the data and identify that they can pull the data and identify that they you studied in that college and completed graduation in 2015. That is where data come into the picture and database come into the picture, right? So database you can consider as a container to store the data from different so uh, like you can consider that database is a container to store a different data, right? Container is nothing but a storage, I would say, like a storage unit. For example, you have a, briefcase, right? So briefcase or bag or whatever it is, you store everything whichever fit into that briefcase or bag, right? So it is kind of the same thing where database store the data in a structured or organized manner. So that we will discuss later, right? So database is a container where we store the data, and whenever we need the data, so we pull from the database. That is how database came into the picture, so that we will have that historical information. Historical as in, as I said, right, 2015 you passed out. So when you passed out 2015, so that is a history, because 2022, so it's a past, right? Like 2015. So historical information we store in the database and pull the data. So not only historical, so we will have every data stored in the database to read and so update the data into the database, right? So update as in, like, again, 2015 you passed out, 22 you went to the college and asked for certificate, and they pull the data, right? So they read the data from the database and they given the certificate. So after giving the certificate to you in 2022, they should mention somewhere, right? This person came to the college and took the certificate in 2022, November 13th. The date has to be updated in the database. That also will be updated in the database, so that whenever you go for next time and ask for certificates again, they will say that, hey, you already took the certificate and on this particular day, so why you are asking again, right? So that is where the data came into the picture. So any questions? So you no need to hesitate to ask any questions. If you have any questions, just uh, keep that, like maybe you can ask at the end, or you can stop if you have any questions in between. Okay, right. So as a DBA, what you would do, like you will be managing everything here on the database side, right? So user management as in, like, for example, a person joined a school or college, right? So ABC joined the college organization. So how that person information will be stored in the database is called a user management. XYZ person joined this organization or college, right? That person information will be created and stored into the database, right? So likewise, you have every activity, other activities. I'm not going to explain or give these so terminologies because these are new to you, so that I just wanted to show you or outline that what are all database administrator responsibility. So you are a DBA, you are everything, right? So you, whatever issues comes in, like you would be able to look into and troubleshoot or fix it, or you can so do anything on the databases. That is what so database administrator can do in the so organization, right? So these are all duties. I'm just before we jump into that SQL Server actual terminologies. So when database can be used, right? So you can consider any application. For example, let's say this is a three-tier architecture that we have, right? So whenever you have, for example, let's say, okay, let's say you how database will be used and where the database is used, right? Like so everywhere the database is common. So it can be any database, like it can be a SQL Server, or it can be Oracle, it can be any databases that we have. So a database is common as a backend to pull or read the data from the database, right? So that is common, right? So in what sense people are using, or people are using the databases, right? For example, let's consider any website. For example, just an example, take that IRCTC, right? For example, if you take that IRCTC, whatever so we have it here, right? So whatever interface that we have, it is just a web portal, right? So IRCTC, book my show, make my trip, whatever you can consider or go with, this is a portal that we have. So how, whenever you type www.irctc.co.in, like whatever you type, so how that works and how it pulls this data, right? Whatever we see here, how this website pull the data, right? So this go in a different layers. For example, this is where you type, right? So whenever you type this is called web URL, right? So whenever you type this, so this is a name, right? So what it happens, so whenever you type this, so with this name in backend, like we have something called DNS, domain name system. So what happens, this domain name system, it resolves this into a IP address. So what does it mean? So don't worry about it. So for example, let's say um, name called Chandu, for example. So my name is Chandu. So when with Chandu name, so there will be hundreds of people out, right? So outside, so there will be hundreds of people, right? So if you ask Chandu, so how that Chandu will be resolved, because he, for example, whenever you call a name, that person will have different. For example, let's say consider you are in a organization or college, right? So in your college with Chandu, you will have tens of people, right? Or so whatever name, you'll have many people. So how about if you assign or give a unique so unique ID for that particular student? So with this unique ID, you will have only one person, right? So that is your hall ticket. For example, let's say if you are going to an examination, right? So if you go to examination and if you get the hall ticket, so in that hall ticket, so you have a specific ID to represent that particular person.